Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will use long division for problems that have decimal divisors. In other words, we'll take problems like 525 and divide it by some type of decimal, like maybe 1.5. So our divisors are going to be decimals. Now, to do this, in step one, you rewrite the division problem so that the divisor is a whole number. To do this, you simply multiply by a power of 10, which is the same thing as moving the decimal to the right. In step two, you multiply the dividend by the same power of 10, and in step three, you divide as normal. Now, in example one, it says rewrite each division problem as a long division problem with a whole number divisor. So in problem A, our divisor is 1.2. I need to make that a whole number. And the way we do that, because there's one number after the decimal, we just multiply it by 10. Now, whatever you do to the divisor, you must also do to the dividend. So multiplying by 10 just means you're going to move the decimal to the right one place. So this would become 863 divided by 12. So all I did there was multiply by 10 to turn that divisor 1.2 into a whole number of 12. Now, it said to write it as a long division problem. So 12 is going into 863. So 86.3 divided by 1.2 is the same thing as 863 divided by 12. All right, in problem B, our divisor is 0.25. Now, to write that as a whole number, now because there are two numbers after the decimal, I'm going to have to multiply it by 100. And if I multiply the divisor by 100, I must also multiply the dividend by 100. So 740 by 100 would be 740 with two zeros, or 74,000. And 0.25 times 100 just moves the decimal to the right two places, so that would be 25. So if I set it up as a long division problem, we would have 25 going in to 74,000. Now, in problem C, our divisor is 24. It's already a whole number, so I don't have to multiply by anything in this problem. I'll simply write it as 24 going into 1,525 and 2/10. Excuse me. All right, example 2. Find the quotient for each of the following. And in problem A, we have 31.5 divided by 1.5. So let's start off by identifying our divisor. Our divisor is 1.5. There's one number after the decimal. So that means to rewrite it as a whole number, I'll have to multiply it by 10. When we multiply by 10, we just move the decimal one place to the right. So this would become 315 divided by, move the decimal to the one place to the right, 15. So when I set that up as a long division problem, I'll put 15 on the outside, 315 on the inside. All right, so then I'll say 15 does not go into 3, but 15 goes into 31 two times. So 2 times 15 is 30. Subtract. 31 minus 30 is 1. And bring down. And 15 goes into 15 one time. 1 times 15 is 15. Subtract, we get a remainder of 0. So 31.5 divided by 1.5 is 21. All right, problem B, we have 210 divided by 3.5. So in this problem, our divisor is 3.5. So that's one number after the decimal place. So I'll have to multiply it by 10 and multiply the top by 10. So 210, add 1 0, and then 3.5 times 10 becomes 35. So we're taking 35 into 2100, all right? So 35 will not go into 21, but 35 will go into 210. Now I'm going to use a little ratio table to find some multiples of 35. So I know 1 times 35 is 35. If I double that, I get 70. So 2 times 35 is 70. I'm trying to get to 210. So let's double it again. If I double 2, I get 4. If I double 70, I get 140. So I'm getting closer to 210. Now, if I double it again, I would get 280, and that's too big. So 8 is too big, so let's try 6. Now, I can figure out 6 by using 2 and 4 is 6. So if I add 70 and 140, I would get, oh, what do you know? 210. So I know 35 goes into 210 6 times. So 6 times 35 is 210. Subtract and bring down. So 35 goes into 0, 0 times. 0 times 35 is 0, with a remainder of 0. So 210 divided by 3.5 gives us 60. All right, problem C. 1.512 divided by 0.24. Now this time there are two numbers to the right of the decimal. So I'm going to multiply the divisor by 100 and the dividend by 100. And that means we're going to move 2 decimal places to the right. So this would become 151.2 divided by 24. So I'm going to put a 24 here, 151.2. So remember, when we have a decimal dividend, we bring our decimal point straight up. All right, now we're ready to divide. Now, again, I'm going to use a ratio table to get some multiples of 24. I know 1 times 24 is 24. Now, I'm trying to get to 151. So if I double that, I get 48. That's still not big enough. If I double that, 48 doubled. 40 plus 40 is 80. And 8 plus 8 is 16. So that would be 96. Still not big enough. All right. Now, if I double it again, I think it's going to be too big. So just like the last problem, if I know 8 is too big, let's try 6. So if I add 2 and 4, I would get 6. So what would I get if I add 48 and 96? Well, 40 plus 90 is 130, and 8 plus 16 is 14. So that would be 144. Well, that's very close to 151. So I'm going to use 6 here. All right, so 6 times 24 is 144. All right, now let's subtract. 151 minus 144 would be 7. Bring down the 2. All right, so let's look at my chart I made down here with my multiples of 24. I want 72. So 2 was 48. 4 was 96. So 2 is too small. 4 is too big. So let's try 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 70. All right, so remainder of 0. So our quotient, 1.512 divided by 0.24 came out to be 6.3. All right, example 3. A pharmacist put 4.536 ounces of vitamin pills into bottles. She put 0.042 ounce of a vitamin pill into each bottle. How many bottles did the pharmacist use for these vitamin pills? So The problem here is we're taking 4.536 and we're dividing it by 0.042. Now, look at your divisor. There are 3 numbers after the decimal. So you're going to have to multiply by 1,000. And when we do that, that shifts our decimal 3 places to the right. So this would become 4536 divided by 42. All right, so I'm going to set up a long division problem here. 4, 5, 3, 6. All right, so I'm going to start with 42 going into 45 one time. 1 times 42 is 42. Subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. Bring down the 3. 42 will go into 33 0 times. 0 times 42 is 0. Subtract and bring down. 336. So 42 into 336. I'm going to use a little ratio chart here. 1 times 42 is 42. If I double that, I get 84. I'm trying to get to 336. If I double that again, 80 plus 80 and 4 plus 4, that would give me 168. All right. If I doubled 168, if I doubled 4, I'd get 8. What would I get if I doubled 168? So that would be 160 doubled and 8 doubled, which would be 320 plus 8 doubled is 16. Oh, what do you know? 336. So this was the number I needed. So 8 times 42 is 336 with the remainder of 0. So the pharmacist would need 108 bottles. All right. Example 4. The weight of 1 serving of trail mix is 2.5 ounces. How many servings are there in 22.5 ounces? So we're going to take 22.5 and divide it by 2.5. Now notice your divisor has 1 number after the decimal. So we'll be multiplying them both by 10, and that would give me 225 divided by 25. Now I'll set this up as a long division problem. So 25 into 225. Now let's make a ratio table here. 1 times 25 is 25. If I double that, double 1, you get 2. Double 25, you get 50. Double that again. Double 50, you get 100. Ooh, if I double it again, I get 200. I'm looking for 225. So if I take the 8 and the 1, I would get 9. And if I took the 200 and the 25, I would get 225. So I know this has to be a 9. So 9 times 25 is 225. Subtract, and that's 0. So I end up with 9 servings. And that concludes today's lesson, dividing by decimal divisors.